Rebel. Babe, can you see that? Snapchat, Instagram, Uchikila.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Her Hour. I should actually be saying hi, Hour Rangers.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, today we're joined by two special guests. But first, my name is Jordan, if you don't know by now. And our other host here.
Hi guys, it's Vera. Hope you're doing good.
Right, and then we have two special guests with us today to discuss our topic. So I'm just gonna let them introduce themselves real quick.
Okay, Eppy first.
Oh, you just introduced me. Hello, my name is Eppy. Do I need to say more? Should I tell people?
We'll
get into it.
Okay, alright. And my name is Trevor Molife.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so as you can hear, guys, I don't know if you can hear in the background, but we kind of have backing vocalists for this episode.
Our resident band, like Her Hour's doing big things this
Doing
year.
real big things. There's a
so
whole
special.
church going on.
Right, a whole church going on in the background just for us.
Yeah, so in this episode we're going to be discussing racism/tribalism because I feel like they're kind of the same thing. So in this context, in this country, I feel like we have to, if we're going to discuss racism, we're going to have to also discuss tribalism in the same breath because they're one and the same, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think let's just get right into it by maybe you guys could tell us a little bit more about yourselves, what you do,
your
what
heritage.
makes you so special.
My heritage. Wow.
Ladies first, sorry.
Wow.
I literally didn't mind, but
Well, I mind.
Okay, yes. My heritage. Okay, traditionally I'm from Chipinge because that's where my dad was from. So I am Ndau. But weirdly, I've never been there because my paternal grandparents stayed in Harare. So yeah, when I went Kumusha, I was literally going Kumfakos. That was Kumusha for us.
All right.
And then, I think I spent most of my life in Bulawayo because we moved to Bulawayo around about the time I started grade 7. So part Harare, but mostly Bulawayo.
Okay.
Wow. Now you can go.
Now
We will allow you.
Okay, so for me, well, we're quite diverse. That's all I can say. Well, firstly, it's my surname Molife, which is Setswana, because we're partly Tswana, and I also have family that is also Ndebele and Shona. So we're quite mixed, and well, when it comes to village, that's quite difficult for me to say. I'm sort of all over. I'm from all over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like all over from your mom's side?
All over from my dad's side,
Okay.
but from my mom's side is Shona. So on my mom's side, I can say that's where I actually feel a bit more stable. Like, I feel more Shona. Okay. In Zimbabwe, I feel more Shona.
Okay.
But wherever, I always try to refer to myself as just being Zimbabwean because that's what I identify with more.
Ooh, Jordan is about to give us a show. It's that kind of a show, guys.
You're trying to get tribalist with my mom.
Okay, so for me, on my mom's side, my mom's mom, it's Ndebele. They are Ndebele. Like it's a Ndebele line, bloodline. That's why I'm so obsessed with Ndebele. Like my friend Tuba and these two will know that like every time I meet people that kuluma, I'm like, speak! It's not a racist thing, it's actually because I'm actually really amused by Ndebele. And then on my dad's side, purely Shona. Like we are the Chieras, the Mashona type, Nyashanu, what. Yeah, so that is basically my heritage.
We know the Shiera side.
All right.
Wow.
That's cool. For me, I'm so mixed. I'm like a bag of Skittles or a bag of like licorice also. It's not for real. On my dad's side, there's like his mom comes from a family where her mom was a Shona, I think she was a Shona woman, and then she was essentially raped by the white man who was the owner of the farm or something. So then that was my grand. She's like mixed. And then my dad's dad was Shona. So then my dad is from a mixed mom and a Shona dad.
Okay.
And that's my dad. So my dad is mixed. And then my mom's side, my mom's dad. Oh, it's so complicated, guys. My mom's dad is mixed with an Indian man I think it's a Indian man and a white woman, or an Indian man and a colored woman, something like that. And then on my mom's side, it's a colored woman and like I think it's another. Like them, I don't know. It's so complicated.
Okay. So we've got some Indian in the mix, some Shona, some white in the mix.
There's a lot.
Jordan is a cocktail, guys.
I have colonizer in my blood, which I'm not very proud of, but it is what it is.
It is.
It's my heritage.
But I think what's interesting about like the mixed race thing, so like I think you noticed I went through like a spiral when we were like kind of researching for this episode, and like I have a lot of mixed race friends, and like one of the things that we spoke about like some time back, and then it came up again like when Jordan and I were discussing about this topic, was like the issue of how National Registry classifies race, right? So if you're mixed race, but there's an anomaly with Jordan, which I think she'll share, but like with mixed race people, they give you the A for alien, and then they put like
00.
Yeah, 00, which basically means that you don't have a farm. You don't come from here. They don't own you as their own.
Wow.
No, literally, that's what it means.
Basically, just dropped.
Yeah, you dropped down from heaven, basically.
But through Vera's research, what she actually came to find is that it's not secluded to mixed race people. Essentially, it's the fact that I have a Shona surname. My surname is Chanetsa, so the fact that I have a Shona surname means that I am entitled to land.
Yes.
So my number is not A00, it's actually T15. And so I get land, yo.
She can get land for free, basically. Which is crazy though. I think it's kind of messed up, because you can have a black person who's maybe not from Zimbabwe. Like I spoke to two friends of mine that their heritage is Malawian, and this isn't even like 20 generations, it's like 3 generations of being in Zim, or like 2 generations of being in Zimbabwe, but they were given numbers on their ID numbers, right? So it's just kind of messed up that, okay, what's the reasoning? Because if you think about it, if you're saying for mixed race people, it's because they're coming from, I don't know, a mixed couple where there was a white person, so they're privileged. But then technically, and then you don't consider them as Zimbabwean. So neither is a Malawian or a Zambian.
Right.
Or no
South
offense, Tswana. But you get what I'm saying?
Like, more Zimbabwean than anything else.
But so is a 4th generation colored person. So is a 4th generation colored person.
Right.
Like, I feel like it is kind of racist. Like, National Registry, are y'all racist?
It is racist, actually.
Are you profiling?
It actually feels more like apartheid to me, because like you're classifying people according to their different races, and this means that you have more privileges than the other. Whereas during the colonial times, I think we both suffered the same disadvantages.
Which is just hectic. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Right, it doesn't. I feel like we're essentially in a system where if you're not, like, if you don't have a Shona or you don't have an African surname, then you don't cut it.
Yeah.
Because there's even black people who have like a European surname or a seemingly non-African surname, and then they will not get a number. They'll get a name.
They give the numbers. That's what I'm saying.
What?
It's messed up. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm like, it's so crazy. Yes, they got numbers. Like, my friend, his surname is, like, let's say, for example, his surname is Tree, right? He has a very white surname, like 2 of them. I know 2 people. Like, I don't want to give off their surnames just in case they want, like, they don't want to be known. But, like, I have 2 friends. They have British, like, Western surnames, but they were given numbers. Like, their ID numbers end with like age 23 and C07. Like, they actually have numbers. Which I was just like, okay, like with mixed race people, they have those Western surnames, but like they're denied the right. Yet they can be like, I spoke to this man, like he was saying that they were trying to like advocate for mixed race people to be given numbers so that they have those benefits, especially if they're like 4th, 5th, 6th generation Zimbabweans. And like he was like the government just refused. They're like, no. And I'm just like, what's the reasoning? Like, government, please answer us if you watch our podcast. But like, this is actually like, I found it like unfair. I was just like, I don't understand. Like, why would you say no, especially if someone has been in this country for so many generations?
Right.
There's just generally extreme profiling within the registry. It's like what Jordan was saying just now. I think for some weird reason, if you have a Shona surname, you're like a dozen steps ahead of everybody else. And like what you were saying with your friends, I think if you're from Malawi, most of their surnames are not necessarily like European, but it's like someone's name. Like it could be like, because what I had that they do is you take your great-grandfather's name. So if your great-grandfather was Habit, your surname then becomes Habit. So I think it's easier to pick, to know this person is actually from Africa.
Right.
Because if you then have an actual European surname, like, you know, it's not someone's name, it's an actual surname, it becomes difficult for you to not get alienated.
Right. That's definitely a fact, because I know someone who they have a Zambian surname, but their first name and their surname are the exact same thing. So let's say your surname and your first name, your surname
So I'll be like
Vera.
Vera.
Okay. And I also have some of my cousins from my mom's side. Like, she got married to a Malawian guy, and they actually use their grandpa's name as their surname, and it's so European.
Right.
So then now my question is, do other countries pay Zimbabwean the same courtesy? So if I were to move to Zambia, will I get an ID that identifies me as a Zambian, and I get the C as for citizen?
Right. I don't know. I feel like Zimbabwe is too. We're so stuck on making sure that white people have nothing. No.
It's like not even if you have a drop of white in you, nothing. We're cutting you off.
This is so different.
Like,
because in South Africa, it's more like the white people have the land.
Yeah. It's like Zimbabwe's like the opposite. It's a complete opposite, I guess.
Right. So do you think that essentially right now the state of this country is segregated? Maybe not in the way that people would think, like black and white, but maybe the government is causing segregation.
Definitely.
To be fair, I think.
Right. But you know what? Colored people are also very racist. Let's speak on that. That's a fact, guys.
That's true.
That's a fact. Like, we can also try and be like, oh yeah, but they also, you know what? A lot of colored people also want to pretend like they're deputy whites. And it's like, no, girl.
And that's like all over.
Most of the colored people I've met are claim their white heritage more than their black heritage. So when you're with them, it's like, we don't vibe, you're black.
We don't talk to you like that. We don't know
I'm
you
not
like
so
that.
sure about the Zimbabwean colored community, because normally when it comes to the colored community, they also discriminate amongst themselves as well, because of the texture of your hair, and if you have more melanin.
I'm not mixed enough. Right, my hair's too kinky. Like it's way too. It's got too many kinks for me to be at like the upper class of mixed.
Which is
Because I don't even
okay.
identify as colored because I'm not. Like it's a whole cultural thing, and it's a whole. And I just don't
want to
mix with that.
get
Right.
you.
But I think that's definitely a good point for us to like look at, is that people are so ready to forsake their culture to be something else.
That's very true.
Right, so I think that this is a very important conversation, guys, and I would just love to hear from your guys' perspective or your understanding of what does racism mean, as well as what does tribalism mean. Like, just give me a short definition, if you can. If you have the ability.
No, I always prefer it when Eppy actually speaks.
When she starts.
So your answer can sound better and more
wow.
intellectual.
No,
It's
she's
okay.
more like a dynamite. She gets you to.
She is. I mean, look at this hair. She's so beautiful.
It's everything.
Anyways, for me, I think racism, it's when someone feels superior because of their skin color. So it could be, it's a bit of a slippery slope type of thing, because someone has told me, I was told this, you can't be racist if you're not in a position of supremacy, which is why you find out people saying that black people can't be racist.
No.
They can be racial. Apparently there's a difference between racist and racial. This is someone else.
That's
It's
problematic.
But yeah,
not
let
saying
me
it's
just.
tricky,
I'll
but
hold my peace.
racism is just you thinking you're better than someone because your skin color is different.
Right.
And then tribalism, it's when people segregate each other, and also this whole superiority thing where you think you're better than someone because you're Tswana and they are Shona, or you are Steve.
That's true.
I was trying to avoid Ndebele and Shona.
How?
We all know that it was supposed to go to Ndebele and
I'm
Shona.
Shona.
I was trying to avoid Ndebele
Take it there.
and
Take
Shona,
it there,
yeah.
though. That's the point of this discussion.
Kuti, you think Kuti, no, it's just where Shonas, we own most of the country, we control things, so we
If you don't speak Shona, you're not Zimbabwean.
Exactly.
What?
You see, that's actually
Or
what
if you're Shona
happens.
sucks,
No, it's
then
for
you're
real.
not
Do you
Zimbabwean
know how many
enough.
times-
Exactly. Your Zimbabweanness is determined by
The
how
amount of
you-
Shona you speak.
Exactly.
Right. Do you know how many times someone has said to me, "Why don't you speak Shona? You're not Zimbabwean then."
Oh,
Yeah, no.
You see.
And I'm like, but babe,
So-
English is also a Zimbabwean language.
Okay, I think I'm also going to be a bit problematic now because
Yeah.
you find that a lot of Ndebele people actually can speak Shona, but vice
Exactly.
versa, that's kind of a no-no at times.
Right.
Because Shona has
I'll
been
hold it
classified as
Right. No, you know what? Someone was complaining on their Facebook. They were like, "Oh no, I went to Bulawayo and I'm here, and you know what? I really love it, but the language barrier." I was like, "Girl, how do you think every other Ndebele person feels when they come to like Harare
Yeah.
or anywhere else?" And
Yeah.
you're complaining the language barrier, please.
So the example
Do
I
better.
always use, right? If you go to Bulawayo Central Police right now and you get there and you say, "Salibonani, I need help with this," right? You're going to get a Shona
Shona
response.
armband.
And so this one time I was in Harare and my wallet got stolen, right? And I went Pani, that Pana First Piper.
Yeah.
I went there, right? The cop that was there was clearly struggling to speak Shona, but he kept trying to speak Shona. I ended up going like, "No, Nyakuluma, like I can also speak Ndebele, so please just use the language you're comfortable with." So you notice he's in Harare and he understands that this is a mostly Shona place. Even if my Shona sucks, I have to make an effort. But if you in Bulawayo is like the center of Matebele, and then you get into a police station, like the
And they
central
won't
police
speak.
station, and you can't even converse in your language.
True.
It's just so unfair.
Right.
I think like we even had a similar experience where we like at church we had a priest who came in from Bulawayo, and he was like he was doing the Shona service at church, and it was so crazy because like you could see he was struggling, you could hear he was struggling, and like he would like end up just opting to mix with English. So he'd be like, he'd say like 3 words in Shona, then he'd go to English. But like the church was so like welcoming and like we permit, like it was like cool, like one of those like, no, we get it, dude. Like at least you're putting in the effort. With more time that you spend in Harare, your Shona will improve. But I really get it that I don't understand why like the government does that, where they'll place Ndebele officers in Mashona land, and then they'll place like Shona officers in Bulawayo, and like that doesn't make sense to me if they're not like trilingual. I think that if you are in the public service, doctor, policeman, fireman, ambulance, whatever, like you need to speak all the languages of the country because you don't know where you're going to be placed, and you don't know who you're going to have to help. It doesn't make sense if I strictly only speak Ndebele and then I have a Shona officer coming through and I need to report my case, and then like he's asking me what happened, and then like he doesn't understand
So
anything.
I guess this is something that they should actually start changing from the schooling system itself. Like maybe we should also have a second language. Because at least that do we? No, but
Like in
it's more
Bulawayo,
like
isn't it?
English
In
and
Bulawayo,
Shona.
you
It's
can
more like
get
In
English
Bulawayo,
and
you
Shona
write
Shona.
school. In Bulawayo, you can get a Shona
Is
school.
it?
Yeah, you can get a
Wow.
Shona school. From primary school, you can actually choose, but no, I want my child to learn
But
Shona.
why not in
But in
Harare?
Harare, if you come here, you're not going to find them.
And we're not just looking at Harare, guys. Even Mutare, Mashingo, all of these other, like we have so many different provinces. I think that like if Zimsek can have Ndebele for Zimsek, then I feel like then it should just be a compulsory thing. Don't make it compulsory to write Shona. There was a time when it was compulsory to just write Shona. Like at least force everyone to learn conversational Ndebele. Learn
Kids are learning Chinese for crying out loud.
Something which is so foreign.
Right.
Okay,
You
so
wanted to say something, right?
no, I wanted to say something like maybe from a developmental point of view, like this is something that always keeps us backwards.
Yeah.
Because we are not willing to embrace each other that much in our diversity. Because the more we embrace each other's language, the more we embrace each other's culture, then we're able to move even forward. But as long as I'm going to identify myself as a Shona person first before Zimbabwean, then I'm not really going to care much about my country. It's a problem.
I get you, but like if we look at South Africa, like they're so proud. Like a Zulu guy is so proud to be Zulu. We had this event where this guy came in and he wasn't Zulu. He was
Zulu,
I don't know if it was
100%
Sutu. I think it's Sutu, the ones that do with the cloths. Like they carry the blankets.
Yeah.
This guy comes with his blanket and he's like, hey, I'm a king. La, 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 la. Like he was so passionate about like his like who he is and everything. And I'm like, is it such a bad thing to be so passionate? Is there a point where being passionate about your tribe, being passionate about your clan makes you tribalist or makes you, you know, gets you to a level where you're like over that? Like with race, is there a point where like I can be so proud to be white that I become racist? Or I'm so proud to be black that I become racist?
I think... Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I mean, like, I think you need to separate, like, being proud of your heritage and undermining someone's heritage.
Right.
Because you'd find a Zulu person in SA, I think, is it not possible that in SA, like, everyone converses in most of the languages?
Well,
I'm not
that
sure
depends on where
Like,
you
yeah, it
stay.
depends
Like
on
in
which
Gauteng,
province.
in Johannesburg, that's where you find a lot of multilingual people.
Yeah.
Like you can speak in Sesotho and I can answer you in Setswana or whichever language, and we can vibe.
Yeah.
But
So
when
you can be very proud. Like I'm a very proud Shona person, proud of my culture. But when I meet a Ndebele person, I make an effort to converse with them, to learn their language, to understand their culture. Not just say like, oh, you don't speak Shona, so why are you in Zimbabwe? You guys don't belong here.
Okay, so I also had one thing that I always used to see in university, because funny enough, like I could blend into both the Shonas and the Ndebeles, because for some reason my surname is very weird, so anyway. But then what used to trouble me a lot was when I would walk into the bathroom and then I would find people writing some tribalistic comments like Shona people are people that eat mice. And it also
You see now.
and this is something that always used to kind of separate us in a way. But then as someone who was in the bridge of both, I was quite privileged in a way.
Like I get you. It's the same with me. I'm Mutetwa, guys. Like literally my surname goes either way. Either or. I can join into a Ndebele crowd and like I'm a Mutetwa. Like, oh, you're also one of us.
You can come to us, my
You know, like, hey! You see, so I can blend in with both. And I guess for me, it's just that I've always been fortunate with my friends, like even the circles that I kept. We are so diverse. You know most of them. You know Zwe is on some when he's in Harare. You can tell Shona is so broken, but he's moving with it, you know. Even Mini she's Kalanga. But we speak, even when we're together as a crew, whatever language goes. Like when we speak in English, whoever has something to say can say it in Ndebele or in Shona. You know, like I think that's the thing we need to start embracing.
Embrace
like,
each other's
as a new
diversity.
new generation.
we need
To be honest, from
on.
my perspective, guys, I found that it's hard for me to hang out with, like, I actually don't hang out with a lot of people. Because when I'm hanging out with white people, I'm not white enough. I'm like not. You know what I mean? And then when I'm hanging out with black people, it's like you don't speak vernac, or you don't speak a Zim language or a vernacular language, so you're not good enough for us. And so it's like we'll speak to you to a certain extent,
and then anything
past that is like we don't respect you because you're not coming to us at the level that we're willing to relate to, right? Because then a lot of people still see me as like, oh yeah, you speak the colonizer's language, you're so colonized, you're still subscribing to like the colonizer, and then it also becomes a layer of, oh, you think you're better than us because you're speaking in English or whatever. And I'm like, I don't think I'm better than you. I'm just a monolingual basic bitch.
This is where my life is. No, but okay. I want to throw out a question. Just ask, like, would you guys teach your kids vernac? Like, growing up? Because like I know that there was a stage in my life where I was just like, no, my kids will only learn English, blah blah. Then as I got older,
don't do that to your kids.
I know. As I got older, and like when I even looked at like how like private schools work, where they only teach like where it was a fine, like it was a punishable offense to speak vernac. And I was like, that's actually hella racist.
It is.
So I was just like, you know, would you guys teach your kids all languages? Would you marry tribally? I don't know if that's a word. Like interracially as well. Like I know some people have things about that, but like these are questions to ask. And like, why would if you would? Why would you? If you wouldn't, why wouldn't you?
Right. Also, just to add another layer, you know the thing of like your totem. Would you take the risk of marrying someone who is within the same totem?
Yes, because there's no blood.
Right. Because you know how people are like, you can't marry if you're from the same totem.
Yeah, you have to check out Ukama.
Right. But do you think that there's some leeway? What if I happen to fall in love with someone who is in the same totem as me?
And like,
why buying a person?
Like the thing is, the conversation that you have when you meet someone, like the first thing you ask someone is, "Hi, Eppy.
What's your totem?
Like what's your mutuvo? Like we don't ask that. Like you find out like months later, or maybe like from casual other conversation that like you're also more for sisters. But like it's never like a thing that happens like instantly. So like what you're saying, when you fall in love with this person.
Well, I don't know, but this is one thing I always appreciate about my upbringing, because I was sort of like brought up in the most diverse way as possible. And later in life, it actually came as an advantage, because wherever I go, I can easily blend in. But also,
that's so unfair,
right?
But it's also a bit like the only time that I experienced something different was when I was now in school in Asia, and it seems like when it came to the Africans, they were not really blending in that much more with me compared to the other people that are not from Africa, because with them it was more like embracing each other, trying to learn more about each other. But when it came to the others, it was more about I'm in my comfort zone and I'm not willing to move to any other side.
Right.
And we're still being queer.
Right.
That we actually need to seriously have that conversation. Like we said,
there's another level and another layer that comes into the whole tribalism thing.
But it's with what Vera was saying, I've noticed, like what you were saying, most kids, especially when their parents have become moneyed and stuff, they tend to lose their heritage. Guys, it's nice to know English, and it's nice to know these fancy things, but you need to also know your identity and be proud of it. So I always tell this to people, and I think people think I'll be joking, that when I have kids, right, I am giving my kids strong African names. Either it's going to be a Tswana name. Not that strong. But I want it to be a Tswana name or a Xhosa name or a Sotho name. Like, you know, something that's complex to roll on a white person's tongue. And then I'm going to teach my kids to not allow anyone to shorten their name. If your name is Beniso, like no white person is going to call you Q. Because we go all the way. You know, guys, Cheryl is a difficult name to roll on your tongue, guys. Cheryl, like, but we make an effort to do that.
But you said it so perfectly.
It took effort.
Okay, I just have one question, because I also see quite a number of African people giving their children Hindi names even.
You see, but like, are we saying that we're not allowed to do that? What if I like the meaning?
Right, you're allowed to do that.
No, if you know the meaning, you know, most kids, right? If you know the meaning of your name, it's perfectly fine. But most kids have European names, they have Hindi names. Ask the child, what does your name mean? I like it.
Right.
Do you think Blue Ivy knows what her name means? Northwest, it's a color, but like
But yeah, I don't know. I think from right now we just have to. I think maybe if we just go around and like throw out one solution that you think could benefit this whole tribalism, racism thing that's going on right now.
Okay, for me it's just one answer. Let us embrace each other as humans before anything else. Once I know that I'm human and you're human, we're on the same playing field, and we all need each other for us to move on to the next level, and try to learn as much about the next person as you want them to learn about you. That's all.
Great.
Yeah, I think definitely I completely agree with Trevor, and I think that like Africans, especially Zimbabweans, let's stop this business of not teaching our children our native languages. I'm a product of not being taught like my native language, and yes, sister.
Right.
And like later on in life, you see, like
it really hurts
you see, and later on in life, as a musician, I'm struggling. It's not about you. This is not about you. Language privilege.
This is about us that can't speak our
Don't
language.
come here with that.
Yeah, so like just, later on in life, if I want to be a politician, I'm screwed because I can't speak Shona fluently or Ndebele or anything.
Right.
So I will be judged for that, So yeah, definitely parents, like let's be that generation of parents that teach our kids everything. If we can't speak it, let's find someone and be like, now you're going for extra lessons for Shona or Ndebele or Ndahu or Chikaranga or whatever it is. Chikore kore, whatever, like whatever language it is, but it has to be a native language, and you tell your kids that you're going to learn it.
So my solution is, I think that it's important for us to be accepting of people who are wanting to be a part of your culture, or wanting to expand their range in terms of being cultural. I think that a problem that we have in our society is that when someone is speaking English and they don't get the words properly, we laugh.
Yes.
Or when someone is trying to speak Shona or Ndebele or
And they get the words wrong.
Zulu, people laugh. This is Zulu, sorry. Is that the correct way? Is that how I say it?
Well, my accent sucks in all of the languages that
I was being side-eyed.
I
so
tried.
I'm just like,
Did I say something wrong?
right.
Yes,
So right, I just think that we should be open and allow people to make mistakes, guys. That's the only way for people to grow. Yes, it's fun to have banter and be like, you chopped and screwed that word.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, laughing at someone sort of limits their desire to want to continue.
Yeah, true.
Because they seem like, I'm just gonna be the laughing stock. So I think let's be more open to allowing people to make mistakes while venturing in broadening their cultural range. Right.
For me, it's just a few things. I think one, we need to stop black on black violence.
Yes.
Chapter 1.
Not xenophobia. Hint, certain nations.
Black on black violence is not too serious. I'm using this as violence because, guys, we think it's small things, but it's violent. I've been bullied and judged on so many occasions because most times I speak English. But you don't understand that it's not my fault, guys. I also want to converse in Shona 90% of the time. But I went to schools where the only time you were allowed to speak in Shona was during Shona periods. If you were caught speaking Shona, you'd get beat up. And secondly, when I was in grade 7, I moved to Bulawayo. I couldn't speak Ndebele. Most people didn't understand Shona, so I had to move towards English, a language that everyone understood. So you get that stuff, it becomes programmed in you, right? And then you find people are like, I know that, hey, she thinks she's better.
Right.
Guys, if you put time now, it's no quit my combi. Literally.
Struggle is real.
So, yeah, it will try and understand, because if I'm around you and you're speaking to me in Shona most times, at some point my brain is going to tune to Shona and I'll also start speaking in Shona as well.
Right.
So let's not push each other out because of the language that we speak or the manner in which we speak.
Right.
And as a young generation, I think we need to stop this thing you inherit my battles and my parents'
Yes.
because fine, like we understand like the whole tribalism thingy that's going on. It's something that's deep rooted, right? But understand this: our parents are still very emotional about it because it's something that happened right in their eyes. So it's difficult for them to be rational. But us as the young generation, we're obligated to create a better future for our kids.
Right.
Stop saying kuti no, inini never. My mother said kuti mumrora mdebela aite. So never. Don't be that person, guys. Don't be that person. It's up. We're the only ones that can end this whole Ndebele Shona thing. So yeah, that's just about all of it. And love your culture, guys. Give your children Shona names.
Right.
And then
Right, but I think that's a perfect point for us to just come to a conclusion, and I think that this is definitely one of those topics where we have to have a part 2. We have to go at it again.
Yes.
I don't think that this is the last time we can speak about this because it's such a broad topic.
Yeah,
I
true.
feel like there's a lot of people who still want to hear about the war between tribes and all that, like historically things that were taught in school, and you know what I'm saying, there's still a lot of what is the word? A lot of conflict and tension between like Mashonaland and Matabeleland.
Yeah.
Like there's still, even when it comes to elections, you can see it.
Yeah.
It's very, very apparent. So yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in and watching our episode, and for everyone who has been with us from day one. I just want to say thank you so much, and we appreciate it.
That's the glasses equivalent of stripping, guys. That's the equivalent of full strip.
I'm done.
Full strip.
The glasses came off for y'all. Right. So yeah, definitely please subscribe to our channel.
Yes.
Like, comment. They socials are gonna be on the screen somewhere here or here or here or here.
Where
on
exactly?
Vera's nose or somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also just subscribe to our channels, our socials, and hit the comment section, start the conversation, engage, ask whatever questions you want to ask. If you want to be in these episodes, please hit the comment section as well. But yeah, thank you so much for watching Our Rangers. We love you so much. And yeah, see you on, I say yeah a lot.
Am I supposed to
See you
kiss
on
as
the
well?
next one.
If you want to.
Right. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
So I feel we need top ups. It doesn't mean anything without eye contact.
Are we done now?
Perfect fit. Mine one ain't that handle fit. Tonight I might fall in love, depending on how you hold me. Tonight we must paint this town.